Welcome to ONA 23. Please welcome to the stage ONA CEO and Executive Director, Lashara Bunting.
Good morning and welcome to ONA 23. It was just 11 years ago that I was sitting in the crowd in San Francisco as a first-time attendee. As I listened, little did I know how ONA, the conferences, and the community would have a profound impact on my life and my career. And today and every day, I am honored and privileged to stand with you as the newest CEO and Executive Director. It is fitting that we find ourselves here in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, a city that leads the way in collaborative reporting, partnerships, and community engagement. That same collective spirit is at the heart of ONA. This continues to be a challenging time in our field. Uncertainty hangs in the air as we confront economic challenges, misinformation, threats to press freedom, erosion of public trust, and systemic bias and racism. Democracy is under threat around the world every day. Yet our community remains focused. We collaborate. We support one another. We see the opportunities that exist in this challenging times, and we innovate. At this moment, ONA's mission to inspire and support innovation and excellence in digital journalism is more critical than ever. I want to take a moment to thank former executive directors Jane McDonnell and Irving Washington for the foundation that you laid, for your continued support and guidance. We're building on their success to ensure that ONA remains ahead of the curve. My vision is for ONA to be the established leader in digital transformation, innovation, and experimentation for journalists and news organizations. ONA can be a powerful resource in the efforts to rebuild local news, and we are poised to be the leader in providing training, expertise, and thought-provoking conversations around artificial intelligence in journalism. ONA's unique value is our active, diverse, and inclusive community. We have a strong track record of centering equity and inclusion across all of our programs, and I am committed to expanding those efforts. Those of us who have been part of ONA for many years knows this is a special community. So I want to take a moment to welcome the 684 first-time attendees joining us for ONA. Thank you for making this investment in your career and in yourself. You'll find this is a community that is open and welcome, and even if you're an introvert like myself, push yourself to connect with those around you. And now the same goes to us ONA veterans in the room here. Let's seek out those opportunities to talk to our new friends and bring them into the community more deeply. Now, raise your hand if you are an ONA member. Thank you for your support. You are at the heart of what we do. Your commitment and involvement in ONA fuels what we do every single day. We rely on that support to carry out our mission. Your membership, donations, and support at events like this one have allowed us to offer in-person and virtual meetups and webinars this year on topics such as AI, newsletter growth, strategies and partnerships, combating misinformation, and accessibility best practices. It's allowed us to pilot new ideas this year, including our Executive Women Leaders Salon and training for first-time managers. It also helps support our long-running leadership programs, many of which are convening this week at the conference. We have another stellar group of students producing stories here at the conference. For this year's Student Newsroom and Innovation Lab, we have 20 students from universities across the country, along with 2 newsroom leads and 10 mentors. Joining in their work are 4 students from historically Black colleges and universities participating in our HBCU Digital Media Fellowship, which is now in its 9th year as one of our student programs. And they are joined by our 6 MJ Baer Fellows, all standouts under the age of 30, working on projects that push the boundaries of storytelling. This fellowship honors the late MJ Baer, an ONA founding member who started our first fellowship program. And this year, we welcomed our 9th cohort of the Women's Leadership Accelerator Program. Yes. This dynamic network, now totaling more than 200 women, represents a range of backgrounds and expertise in leadership positions across the globe. We have seen great impact since the program began in 2015. 73% have been promoted within about a year. 25% reached C-suite within 4 years of completion of the program, and 11 have gone on to found news organizations. That is the change we need in this industry, and your support helps to make that happen. Partnerships and collaboration are the key to building a solid and vibrant industry. We are proud to announce a brand new partnership with News Revenue Hub to strengthen our membership offerings, technology, and community strategy. We are excited to be among the more than 200 organizations working with the Hub on elements that are key to sustainability. Also, we continue our support of the Pivot Fund, led by ONA member and WLA alum, Tracy Powell. This venture philanthropy organization aims to channel $500 million into community news outlets led by journalists of color. Their inaugural cohort, 7 Georgia news organizations, all led by people of color that reach Black, Latino, and Asian American audiences, are receiving a combined $2 million, including consulting support, technical assistance, training, and networking opportunities. I look forward to more opportunities to join forces with journalists and organizations committed to this work. Reach out to me with your ideas. All of this is possible because of you. I've been talking a lot about community and collaboration because that is how we all win. Thank you to the ONA members and volunteers. Thank you to the foundations, to the companies and universities and newsrooms that continue to support us each year. We could not do this work without you. Thank you to the ONA Board of Directors for your strategic guidance and wisdom. And a special thank you to this incredible, hard-working team of ONA staff and consultants. Your commitment, tireless efforts, and passion have been the driving force behind our work. It is my privilege to work alongside you every day. Now, next year, we celebrate the 25th anniversary of ONA. As we develop this next phase of the organization, our vision is that we magnify our efforts to reach thousands more journalists in newsrooms, and that we continue to help you to inspire change and innovation within your own work and within your own organization. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage my partner in creating the path for this important work, ONA Board President David Smidrow.
Good morning. Before I lose my nerve, last year in LA, we were so excited to be back in person. we inadvertently skipped a rich O&A tradition, which is the opening day selfie. So do you mind if we fix that this year and get back on the rails? All right, everyone, keep looking awesome. All right, thank you. I'm going to have the O&A staff send that out because this is true. I would share it on Twitter, but since I was laid off in the fall, I can't get into my account. All right. Thank you, Lashara. Good morning, O&A. Before I go any further, I just want to hold on to this moment for a second because, Lashara, as you mentioned, you are the first CEO whose career has been impacted so significantly by O&A's work. Our third chief executive, but our first CEO who has gone through O&A as a member and felt that impact in their career. And I never could have imagined when I stood on this stage last year, as we bid farewell to Irving, that we would find a leader with the experience, with the vision, with the empathy and passion for O&A that Lashara has. And so I think that gives us cause for two celebrations. First, that this organization is in such capable hands, your hands, and also as we head into the future, that the work we've done in the past has more generally helped to train, to inspire, to empower leaders like you. So few organizations encounter a moment this special, and I just want to be sure to call that out. So once again, Lashara, congratulations, and welcome to O&A as the CEO. Let me also reiterate Lashara's thanks to our hardworking staff and consultants, the best in the business. Throwing an industry-leading conference like this one, of this size and complexity, is not easy. And to pull it off, this team runs a months-long marathon at sprint pace. Just as you would at a marathon, if you see them in the halls, if you see them in the conference rooms, please offer them a high five or a fist bump and cheer them on because they deserve it. And please join me in the meantime in giving them another huge round of applause. But this staff is not alone. Many, many people are responsible for the experience you'll have over the next 3 days. As you wander the halls, you will see a few people in tomato-colored shirts, orange shirts. There's been a little debate on the color. But they are some of the more than 75 volunteers serving as greeters, mentors, bag stuffers, session monitors, and many more. They help everything run smoothly, and they do it with amazing energy and always a warm smile. So thank you again, volunteers. Every year, and I'm just amazed by this, every year our programming gets better and better. I know I'm not alone in struggling to choose my sessions because the program is simply so damn good. Well, this doesn't happen by accident. Our volunteer program team is the one to blame and thank for making those choices so hard. These 15 people put in countless hours to curate this week's incredible sessions. They combed through hundreds of submissions to select the final offering, and once again, for another year in a row, they have raised the bar. Thank you again, Program Committee. Also, this event would not be possible without our sponsors and supporters. O&A 23 is supported by over 75 organizations, including our supporters in the exhibit hall and our annual Playground of Technology, the Midway. For all you first-timers, I really encourage you to check out the Midway. It is a part of the O&A experience you will appreciate. Please thank all of our sponsors for the support, including our lead conference sponsors, Google News Initiative and YouTube, Microsoft, News Revenue Hub, Canva, and the Knight Foundation. We'd also like to thank our year-round lead funders, including the Knight Foundation, Democracy Fund, Dow Jones Foundation, Ford Foundation, Hearst Foundation, and the Inasmuch Foundation. For the past 9 years, I've had the privilege of serving on ONA's board of directors. For my money, these 16 contributors from across the industry and across states, countries, and so many diverse backgrounds and viewpoints are more hardworking, insightful, empathetic, and fun than any leadership group I've seen in news. As I finish my final year as a voting member of this board, I just want to say thank you. If you've learned half as much as I've learned from all of you, I'll be grateful. And thank you for letting me join your ranks. Let me join this room in thanking you again for all of your hard work. And this is the perfect opportunity to remind you that we are currently holding board elections. There will be a meet and greet with candidates at 5:30 p.m. today in Franklin Hall on the 4th floor before the opening reception. We also have a voting booth near the registration desk. It is important, critically important, that you use your voice to choose ONA's leadership. Voting is open now and ends September 7th. And if you vote while you're at the conference, you can snag one of the I voted buttons outside registration. We have one of our strongest board slates ever, and you can find details about each candidate and their vision for ONA at journalists.org. The past few years, we should note, have also brought us a time of loss. Mandy Jenkins, a beloved mentor and trailblazer in journalism, embodied ONA's mission. She served 8 years on the ONA board, including as president. Mandy championed local news, digital journalism, product innovation, and women's leadership while inspiring countless journalists with her passion, humor, work ethic, and collaborative spirit. For all of you who knew Mandy, you will agree she was one of a kind. For Mandy and every member of the ONA family who we've lost, let's honor them with a moment of silence. Thank you. Each year, we hear from you that the top reason you attend ONA is to connect with your peers and to learn. The connections that are made and the knowledge that is shared here helps move this industry forward. To catalyze those connections, we have more than 80 interactive sessions and workshops led by more than 200 presenters across 4 days, including everything from the latest in AI innovations, to career development, to collaborative reporting coverage, to connecting with your audience through short-form video. And this evening, please join us for the ONA 23 welcome party for a delightful evening of local music and treats. The evening will begin at 5:30 with a reception in the midway on the 4th floor. Then we will all make our way right here back to the grand ballroom on the 5th floor for a tour of the flavors of Philadelphia, from South Philly-style Italian hoagies to West Philly's Caribbean bites. On Saturday, we close out our conference by honoring the best in digital journalism through our online Journalism Awards banquet and ceremony, which will be emceed by Gene Demby, a Philly native and host of NPR's Code Switch. Just a few last tickets remain, which you can purchase at the registration desk. And also, based on feedback from last year, we read every comment, it should be noted. We are introducing ONA 23 Onward, a new virtual event scheduled for September 28th and 29th. For everyone here, access to that virtual conference is included in your registration, and passes can also be purchased separately if you know someone who would like to join. So log in next month to continue our conversations on AI, design, news revenue, and more. Throughout both events, be prepared to feel more vibrant and inspired than ever as you connect with other change makers in journalism. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, I'm finishing my term as board president at the end of this year. I'd be remiss not to share some of what O&A has meant to me and why I am certain that O&A will lead our industry into the future. And for me, it has come down to one word: community. Our business is always in tumult. I don't have to tell you, no one goes into journalism to take it easy. Media companies grow, combine, downsize, and close their doors all the time. And while I spent most of my journalism career working in technology, that all too common moment finally came for me and 3,500 of my colleagues at Twitter when we were laid off last fall. It's no exaggeration to say that O&A was the single biggest factor in getting me and my family through that moment. And I'll be honest, I'll be straight, I needed all of it. The virtual coffees, the energy in a WhatsApp group thread, seeing an insightful post from one of you on LinkedIn. An O&A member even Venmo'd me out of the blue one day, $10, just to remind me to get a muffin or a pastry from my favorite bakery. And if you know who among us is a baker, then you know who that was. There are just a few of so many small yet thoughtful gestures in which the O&A community showed up for me. But more accurately, it has always showed up for journalists. It has always showed up for so many of you and for so many of us. And I was lucky to discover a newfound appreciation for it. There's no amount of thanks I can give to repay that support, nor any limit on how much I will always try to pay it forward. So I'm full of gratitude. I'm full of excitement for the days ahead. Because once again, our community is together, and we get to learn and share and inspire and support each other together here at O&A 23. For counting me among this amazing community and for the experience we'll have over these 4 days, thank you. With that, let's kick off our opening keynote. The potential of artificial intelligence as an opportunity and a disruptive force is enormous for the journalism community. These technologies have already started to transform our business and how we work. This discussion examines all that AI offers in this pivotal moment in our world and how journalism plays a key part now and in the future. Joining us today will be Liz Danzico, Vice President of Design at Microsoft, Dalia Hashim, the AI and Media Integrity Research and Program Lead at Partnership on AI, and Matt Masterson, Director of Information Integrity at Microsoft. Moderating will be longtime member, friend, ally, and accomplice of O&A, Paul Cheung, CEO for the Center of Integrity. Please join me in giving them a warm welcome to the O&A stage.
Good morning, everyone. Let's give another big round of applause for David, Lashara, and the staff of O&A for putting together the amazing conference. So let's talk about AI. Today's conversation, we're going to focus about the current state of AI. We're going to go a little bit about what we learned from our previous dance with technology and how AI could be different, followed by what does it mean for us as journalists and the journalism at large. And then finally, we're going to talk about how do you ground AI. But before we go into these deep discussions, I want to do some rapid fire questions. And these are the questions for the Trekkies and the Marvel fans. So which system is closer to reality and why? Iron Man's Jarvis or Star Trek computer AI?
I'm the wrong one to start. I confessed to Paul before the panel that I'm not a Trekkie, and so I know. Please don't. But I love Marvel. So I actually asked Bing Chat for a response on this just to see what it might say, and it only distinguished the two. So I'm going to say Star Trek, just because of the response from Bing Chat differentiating it from Jarvis and what Jarvis is now. So I don't have a good answer on that one.
What about you, Liz?
So I have to say, in our household growing up, we had to choose between Doctor Who and Star Trek. But so even nonetheless, I also would say Jarvis. I think that even though we're sort of saying Siri, hey Google at the moment, and not hey computer, like Jarvis did, I think we're not that far away. That kind of reality is just around the corner, and it feels quite similar to the way that we are experiencing AI today, meaning things feel very much around the corner, right? And so Jarvis feels more prescient.
Okay, so Dalia, you're the tiebreaker. There's one Star Trek, one Jarvis.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Jarvis on this one.
Oh.
Yeah, I think to Liz's point, Jarvis is a lot more of a personal assistant. It helps Iron Man do what he needs to do. Computer AI is more of a critical thinker, and I would say AI is not a critical thinker at the moment. So yeah, Jarvis definitely.
Thank you. So second question, which system is more dangerous? Skynet from the Terminator or the Matrix?
So this one I did have an opinion on, and I say, as someone that works in information integrity around mis and disinformation, I say the Matrix. The ability to manipulate reality and basically control humans in that way and change in a virtual reality way the way that humans perceive their own existence, I take as a more dangerous threat in this environment, particularly in the line of work that I do.
I don't want to. I would like to not agree with Matt, actually, but we disagreed.
That's common
many times.
for me.
Yeah, I know. Just earlier today we disagreed, but I have to agree. As a person who makes a business in understanding human behavior and using that to kind of translate, I think the most dangerous thing is to sort of mask human behavior or sort of deceive and be deceptive. So the Matrix, I think, did that. So. A vote for the Matrix.
Yeah. Paul, I have to thank you. You launched me and my colleague Christian into like a 15-minute discussion on this question when I was trying to get his take. Because, to your points, do we want to know when we're about to die or do we not? My vote was I would like to know. I would like to go into it eyes wide open. So my vote was for Skynet. But I totally see the argument for the Matrix. So.
Okay, and my final rapid fire question is, if anyone remember that movie AI with Julie Osmond, right? So, who would you rather be friends with in terms of an AI humanoid? Star Trek's Data or Blade Runner's Rachel?
So I chose Data. I think Data has a more human side, for lack of a better term, even though he's AI in his own way, and has an ability to connect, or at least eventually developed some sort of ability to connect. And so I chose Data. He seems like he'd be a great friend and very helpful.
He's really good at chess.
Yeah.
Sure. I agree. I chose Data too. Mostly for the cuteness factor, not gonna lie. So.
Oh.
Yeah, I also chose Data because of the rule following and just this idea of having someone who always knows where the sort of moral compass is and the moral center. But I have to say, I want to convince Rachel, and sort of be able to kind of bring Rachel to the other side. So there's a case for the sort of aspirational friend in Rachel.
Well, all jokes aside, in terms of these questions, one of the since generative AI have come on the scene late last year, there have been a lot of imaginations and a lot of chatter about what AI can and cannot do. So first of all, AI is nothing new, right? And so what about AI right now, particularly generative AI, have really sparked these widespread discussions across industry? And what are some of the reasons why it's driving it to its current prominence right now?
I would probably say generative AI did what a lot of technologies before it in AI were not able to do, in the sense that it was able to show, not tell. all of a sudden everyone had access to that technology. They could play around with it. They could test it for themselves. They could see its own capabilities for themselves. So you have people coming back and being like, well, this is the closest I've ever seen to magic. So, I've tried it for myself, and I know what it's like. No one is telling me that it can do all of these different things. And so I think that kind of led to a lot of its widespread. And just to give you folks an example, last year was my first ONA, and it was wonderful. Woohoo! And I remember talking to a lot of people here, and they were like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I work in responsible AI." And they were like, "That's really cool, but also, why are you here?" Not in an aggressive way, but in a very inquisitive, how does this relate to journalism? And this year, here we are, talking about AI in the opening panel. And so I think all of that change in 1 year is just anecdotal to how much AI has kind of become ubiquitous in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think a few things. One, AI, Gen AI, and sort of I agree, it's been sort of around for a long time, but Gen AI, as we know it today, seems to pass the Turing test. It's sort of more indistinguishable from what we can sort of recognize as human-created content, and that is enticing in many ways and risky in other ways. And I think it's sort of access is also intriguing, and I think the sort of low barrier to entry has both its positive and negative, but I think its access and ubiquity and its speed has been quite intoxicating, and leaves room for the human to kind of strategize, create, be creative, and kind of accelerated innovation and growth in ways that we hadn't seen before. And then the fluency, if you think about, very, very early on, and the fluency that was needed to create a simple web page, right? And the fluency was needed with brackets and code and, all the things, JavaScript, all these words and language that we needed to teach people, and it was hidden behind things, right? In order to get the interface to show up. The code, the prompt engineering that we'll perhaps talk about later, is right here, right? It's sort of accessible to us. It feels very plain language. So those are some of the sort of, I think, three kind of aspects that are at play right now.
Not much to add beyond what they've said, except for the sort of practicality that it's presented for many. I think of the conversation that I had with my wife as I was working on these projects, and it came home to her. Her least favorite task throughout the week is meal planning for the week, and her ability. I kind of walked her through. Let's talk about what kind of ingredients we have. Let's see, and within 10 minutes, we had a meal plan, an ingredients list, and a cost list from the local grocery stores, and that practicality for her was attractive around a task that otherwise is frustrating and sort of tedious. And so I think folks have seen the opportunity to eliminate some tedium, is that a word? We'll say it is. Eliminate tedious tasks and really engage to improve and gain back perhaps their most valuable resource, which is time around some of this. So.
And question about sort of the development of the technology. How fast is it in terms of evolving from sort of a couple of years ago when we think about AI, we use algorithm, right? And then machine learning, and now it's generative. And what is the next big thing beyond generative? How fast is this technology actually evolving?
That's a good question. I feel like we're already at the next thing. I mean, if we talk about the next thing, we were, looking at, web pages, we looked at social, we looked at mobile, we looked at sort of the cloud, we had these many sort of touch points, and now I think we're at this moment of generative AI, but yet all along we were looking at AI. How fast is a great question. I mean, it's at the intersection of how fast technology is developing and how quickly humans are ready for it and so the question is only partially worth answering with all due respect, because it doesn't matter unless sort of the culture and society is sort of ready to accept it as well. That's my thought. So I don't know if we're sort of almost ready for what's next after generative AI, because we're still sort of processing where its place is and what's next for it.
I would probably say that, like, as far as AI development in the way that we see it, in like a regular, touchable, impactful way, I don't think we're going to experience as big of a leap similar to generative AI in like the immediate near future. But I think what we build on top of the pre-existing technologies is going to be very interesting. And I think, like, anecdotally, the first couple of months after ChatGPT came out, the amount of software that was being built on top of that technology was amazing to see. Like, it was insane how many different websites, how many different products popped up so quickly after it was made available to the public. And I think that trend is only going to grow. I think for AI itself, there's still like a lot of questions that we're still puzzling with. How do you create so much data to feed such like large algorithms? How do you power such large algorithms with all of the environmental impact that they have and all of these side effects? So like that's, I think, a question that we're still very much so struggling to solve. So I don't necessarily think that we're going to see a major leap in the next year or two, but I do think that the products that are being created on top of these technologies are wild to watch. At least that's my take.
So that's encouraging. It means that we have a little bit of time to catch up, right? And so when we think about, in this generative AI, who are some of the biggest winners and losers you think that, whether it's journalism or other sectors, who are some of the winners and losers? Is it technology companies going to continue to win? Are retailers, are they the losers?
Go ahead.
I think that's yet to be determined, right? I think there's so much to play out as far as the uses, the investment. Certainly, as someone that's at a tech company, in order to sort of be on the winning side, as the question's framed, it's incumbent on us to continue to engage with the communities that are trying this technology. That's why we're here today, having these conversations, because we can't meaningfully impact the world in the way that Microsoft attempts to do without engagement, conversation, skepticism, criticism from the communities that it's intended to support. I think we've seen early on that those who have at least begun to use or experiment with or engage with the technology have found value and begun to see the efficiencies that can be brought. We've seen, we have a partner that's actually here now named Noda that's working with journalists actively to increase the reach that newsrooms have into their communities, the engagement with content and things like that. I think as we continue to see that engagement, it'll flesh itself out. But winners, I don't think we're at a point of determining winners or losers. I think we're at a point of trying to bring everyone together and have that meaningful conversation about timing, pace, and what's appropriate to support the various communities, whether it's journalism, medicine. Certainly the conversation in government is an interesting one as well.
Yeah. I was listening to the NPR One app this morning. Shout out to the NPR One app. And I was listening to a story about how India reached, was launched into space, and the woman who was being interviewed used the pronoun we. We reached. I'm sort of misquoting to a room full of journalists, but use the pronoun we to communicate that we've reached. We've done this. And the question was, when you say we, is this about, are you referring to the country, or are you referring to us as a planet, right? And so the conversation was about, this is an achievement for all of us. And I think to your question, that's what we are doing right now. The opportunity, the winners, the losers, are not the tech companies or the citizens or the consumers, or forms one way that we're sharing what we're